impending in the Norfolk area, tomorrow night. Just felt like it was safest for us to get it in if we moved it to Wednesday. And with that, the pro park and the parameters that they have around the game and things like that, it was just kind of tough to navigate that. So it was just easier to move it back to ODU Stadium.
And you guys got a little experience with travel problems, don't you?
Yeah. That Wichita weekend was certainly fun. That was fun. Wearing the same outfit for a couple days straight and going from there. But
that's what Coach Palumbo said. He said,
"Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're in this long enough and you're in college baseball long enough, things happen. I've been on trips where we're taking these sleeper buses, and one of them breaks down, and this of course isn't at East Carolina. This is actually a different place, but bus breaks down, and we have to get a mechanic out there to fix it, and we're rolling into town overnight at about 9:30 the next morning. And so there's always things that come up in college baseball, and you try to navigate them the best that you can. And honestly, the few years that I've been here, it's been the most seamless travel that I've ever been a part of. So.
Yeah, it had to be rough, that's for sure. But Cincinnati was much better as far as the travel goes, and the games went much better as far as that goes as well. Let's go through the weekend. We start off with Zach Root in Game 1. That's a little bit of a different change for you guys.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, and you're talking about a freshman taking the ball on Friday night. Zach's really been good for us throughout the course of the season.
Yes, he
has. And you certainly see the potential that he has moving forward in his career. And so, but with that being said, he is a freshman, and he's still learning the college game and what it takes to be successful. And I didn't think on Friday he was at his best, but he still kept us in the game and gave us a chance to win the game. And then, of course, we got the ball to the bullpen, and they did a tremendous job throughout the second half of that game. But Zach's he's going to continue to get better, and he's going to pitch again on this Friday night coming up. And I look for him to be outstanding, just like he was against Tulane last Saturday. And
you guys have the luxury of having such a great bullpen. You got so many guys with so much experience that you can go to with a lot of confidence. I mean, it's not like you're walking down and saying, who are we going to put in now? Because they're just lined up, and they're all really good.
Yes, and they've done a great job.
Yeah.
You add Spivey back into that mix in the bullpen, and you're talking about another extremely good, experienced, mature arm that you can give the ball to. And a lot of older guys, a lot of different looks, from Danny Bill to Wyatt Lunsford Shankman, who pitched outstanding yesterday, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Exactly.
To Spivey, to Saylor, who can also start for you, to Jake Hunter has been really good out of the bullpen this year in that role. And so I'm probably leaving some guys out, but the guys, I think that's what it takes. Everybody wants to talk about the starting rotation, and our starting rotation have been fantastic, really the majority of this year. And it does take having a good starting rotation, but the bullpen can be just as important.
Oh yeah, I would say maybe even more important, because a lot of times these guys come in, with runners on base, and the table's set for the other team, the offensive team, and they got to come out and put the fire out right away. All right, so Root goes 3 innings, and then Jake Hunter comes in, and I thought he really pitched well, 2 2/3, gave up a couple of hits in that first game.
Yeah, he was great. He was exactly what we needed. Just put up some zeros and get us to the end of the game there, and allow our offense to get back in the dugout quickly and score some runs. And that's really who he's been. He's been a guy that can kind of come in middle relief, and he has a really good fastball, but he has enough in his repertoire to mix enough to where they can keep him off the fastball. But he's been doing a great job, and he was again vital to that win on Friday.
And then Danny Bill comes in after that. He goes 3 1/3. They gave up only 1 hit.
Yes, and Danny's had spurts where he's been just like that, like you just said, where he's been really, really, really effective and tough on the opposing offense. And he's a neat one just because he can go over the top. He comes underneath. He throws about 6 different pitches from those slots, and so it's a guy that can really keep the offense off balance. And he was tremendous on Friday, and we've been giving the ball to him a lot here recently because he's been throwing the ball and as well as he has, and has certainly been giving us quality performances. So definitely happy with him.
You look at offensively, and we were talking about it before we went on, it's so much easier to pitch, to play defense when you guys are hitting behind the guys. And the guys, I think AMAC had a home run and a triple before the popcorn was finished.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he had 2 early big hits in that game. Nowak had a couple of triples. I mean, how many times do you see a guy get 2 triples in one game? But he did.
Not a lot, but he has that game-changing type speed to go along with, of course, a good bat at the plate. And, when the offense is playing like that, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of everybody. It allows those guys to go play freely and go pitch freely on the mound. And of course, the defense, they already, the confidence that they have in the plate, it just carries out to the field as well. And those are the games where you see great defense, a good pace on the mound, and then of course when we get in the dugout, a lot of runs being scored, and it certainly carries throughout our entire team.
Pirates take game 1, 9-3. What was the feeling like after that first game? Because the first game of a series is always so important, but you guys take care of business, win rather comfortably. What was the mood like?
It was great. It's great. And, I addressed it earlier a little bit, but we haven't played great on the road, but I thought we played really well on Friday. And so that was a good feeling. And so, within the coaching staff and the team, we were certainly happy with the way we played on Friday. But with weekend series and the challenges that, they present in college baseball and the disparity with that, the mood has to change quickly and get focused on the next day, right? The next game, the next deal. And so I think that, within our staff and within our players, we do a really nice job of turning the page quickly. But of course, whenever you're winning and you're playing well, that is advantageous to moving into the next day as long as we're doing things the right way.
You go into game 2, Josh Groves gets the start. He goes 4 2/3, gave up 4 hits. And again, what you guys are asking for the starters to do is give you a chance to win the game. He certainly did that.
Always, yeah. And he hit 4 2/3 and didn't give up any runs and pitched through some traffic. And, it was definitely a mature and veteran outing for him, because I didn't think that he was as sharp as we've seen him this year. That it certainly wasn't perfect. Had some leadoff guys get on base, but the great thing about having those older guys and guys who have been there and done that is that they can navigate through it. They can make big pitches when they need to. And of course, he got us into the second half of the game, and we went to the bullpen and ended up winning that game. But of course, when he came out, the game was still pretty tight.
Yeah, again comes in, pitches, gets an out. Richie comes in, pitches, gets an out, and then Carter Spivey. And I really wanted to ask you about Carter, because he didn't pitch badly as a starter, but it just seems like when you can look on his face that it looks like he's more comfortable, just fired up, ready to go as a reliever.
Yeah, and he is. He kind of rides that adrenaline wave a little bit, and he's definitely more comfortable in that bullpen, which is a little crazy, coming into those high leverage situations with guys on base. He's more comfortable in that as opposed to starting. And he, of course, he started well and pitched well and had some great outings. I mean, you talk about his AAC pitcher of the week just a couple weeks ago against Cincinnati, but he's just extremely effective out of the bullpen. But it's more what has to do with his mind and his mentality coming out of the pen. It's just a little bit different coming out of the pen with that adrenaline coming into a situation than having to carry that when you're just when you're starting every 7 days. And he's one of the best that I've been around when it comes to being consistent out of the bullpen like that.
It's like when he comes out as a starter and looks around, there's nobody on base, there's nothing going on, there's no excitement. But when he comes out as a reliever, and he knows that's the game's on the line per se, and I think that you could just see the spark was there. I mean, it's really fun to watch. I've always been a fan. Last year, I thought, to me, last year he kind of snuck up on everybody. Like when they started talking about American Pitcher of the Year, and I was like, how many? Oh yeah, look at the record. Look at the earned run average. Yeah. He had the great stats, and he probably won't win it this year just because of other things. But how effective is that coming out of the bullpen? I mean, that's just
huge.
Unbelievable.
It's huge. It's invaluable. It's having him to come in and really pitch at any point in the game. It's not like he's just a closer or a middle relief guy. I mean, he came in what was it, the 6th inning or 7th inning or whatever it was the other day, and would have finished the game if we didn't put up some runs and different things like that. If the game was still tied, he would have finished the game, but we had an opportunity where we could get him out of there. But having a guy that can go multiple innings, he has been built up as a starter, but is really comfortable in that reliever role. It's just so valuable, and we have so much trust in him taking the ball at any point, whether it's as a starter or a reliever.
Had some big blasts in the game. Obviously, Jacob Starling's 3-run home run kind of puts you in a spot where, hey, we got a really good chance to win this game. And then, as you said, you get the 5 5-run ninth inning, and that's Justin Wilcoxon's grand slam. So that puts it over the edge, and you're able to save Spivey a little bit. So if you do need him in that third game, but 11-3 was the final in Game 2, and that of course moved us to Game 3, a 10-inning affair. And you know, good teams, as you said going in. Cincinnati's 6 losses in the conference have all come against East Carolina. 6 of the 10, they've got a good team. They were 1 game out of third place, I think, going into the weekend. Yeah. So you knew they really wanted to salvage at least one game, and they got the big 3-run bomb in the game, and they had a chance to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly did, and they played well yesterday and took advantage of some of the mistakes that we made, both on the mound and in the field, and some different things like that. But for us, to go there and really probably not play our best game there on that Sunday, but come out with a win and a sweep is huge. But definitely, man, they were definitely they definitely played a good game. They played well. They pitched it well. They had the big swings, and like I said, they took advantage of some of our miscues in the field and on the mound.
You look at this Pirate baseball program and what Cliff's been able to do with it, and every year in the preseason we talk about how much depth is there, and this team is really, really deep. And you see that depth in a game like this when you put a guy in like a Riley Johnson who comes in as a pinch runner, and then he's basically the hero of the game and comes in late, but he had to sit around and wait the whole time, to become that hero. But guys buy into their roles. They don't come to the park, and if they don't see themselves starting, they go sit in the corner and pout. They know they've got a role, and they know they've got a shot at some point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just, again, it's a credit to the culture that Coach Godwin has built here and getting buy-in from the players, because it isn't like that everywhere.
Right.
But like we tell the guys, you don't ever know when your time's going to come, and you don't ever know when you're going to win a game and when you're going to be the quote-unquote hero of that game. And Riley has been outstanding, whether it's been in the starter role, but it's certainly off the bench here of recently. I think, I don't want to jinx him, but he's been like 6 for 6 in his last 6 pinch hit at bats, and of course he's very dynamic on the bases. He's an extremely good outfielder, and he brings a lot to the game whenever he's in there. And so he's been great, and that was a huge swing yesterday. And and of course JC putting the nail in the coffin with the hit after that to score the run. And but those guys off the bench, they're so important. And Coach, he likes to play a lot of players. He likes to get those guys in the game. He likes to make some moves. And so again, those guys having the right mindset is the most important thing for them to have success when they come in those spots.
Yeah, and it just seems to me like the guys, when they come in, they've got their own sort of spark. And Riley, of course, when he hit that double, he got to second base, and he was, he was looking over at the bench, and they were all fired up and everything, because basically, I think the first out was already made. So it was 1 out, and he gets on second base. He got a chance to score the run, and Jacob Jenkins-Cowart did just that. On the mound for East Carolina in Game 3, we got a chance to see Trey Savage. He went 1 inning. You guys had him on a really strict pitch count because of his, I don't want to call it an injury, but he had some arm soreness. How did he come out of that? How's he feeling?
He's feeling great. And the velocity was back up. He was throwing the ball 95.
It was back up.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball 95 miles an hour in the first inning, and felt outstanding. He only got off the mound 1 time prior to that, so getting him back into a consistent routine is going to be key to him knocking off some of that rust and getting back to where he was. But it was super encouraging to see him back out there. And we're not going to let him throw more than 35 pitches yesterday. And of course, that first inning extended a little longer than what we'd have liked. But anytime that you see that guy out there and you see that guy competing, that you're feeling good about your chances to win a game, and getting him back into the mix, of course, is key. With the future, with the postseason, and in our goals moving forward. And so him feeling good, him getting back in a routine is huge, and it's very exciting.
And the other exciting thing is that you guys have players to go to. You knew you were going to throw him 30, 35 pitches. As you said, the first inning went a little longer, so you can't throw him in the second.
That's right.
So he comes out after the first inning, and then Garrett Saylor comes in, a guy with all that experience, and he really pitched well too.
Yeah, and G has been great. He threw awesome against North Carolina in the middle of the week, gave us a great start against them, and then of course bouncing back and asked him to give us some length to get us to basically the 5th inning. And he wasn't at his best, but he gave us a chance to win the game, and that's the key. Is that on the mound, man, you're not going to always have your best stuff. It's not going to always go perfect, but if you can be competitive enough to keep us in the game and give us a chance to win the game, that's all you can really ask on that day. And so I think he certainly did that, and gave us a chance to win and gave us a chance to get to the back end of our bullpen and the back end of the game, and of course went to Wyatt Lunsford Sheikman there and was just he literally couldn't have been any better.
No, he couldn't have been. I'm telling you, 5 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no runs obviously, no walks, 3 strikeouts, but he just really went in and took control of the game, and his body language showed, I'm in control of this game. When I'm not going to give up much if I give up anything, and he didn't give up anything. I mean, he was really good.
Yeah, it was perfect through 5. I mean, he retired every hitter that he faced, and he's had just a tremendous year and has really grown over the last year, as I talked about in the preseason. And I don't know if you can expect a guy to come in and pitch as well as he has. You obviously see the development and you see how much better he's gotten, but when he's out there, he is poised, he's intense, he has confidence in any pitch, in any count. But the way that he threw the baseball yesterday was just outstanding. I was very proud of him at the end, and I told him that. And but you could tell, like you said, with the body language, his demeanor was outstanding, his poise was really good, and he was in total control of the game.
Pirates go 3-0 on the weekend, sweeping Cincinnati's Bearcats. We'll take a commercial break right now, and we'll come back and talk more with Austin Knight, pitching coach at East Carolina. As we go to break, Pirate fans, the Papa John's is an MVP move for game day or any day. You place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza, go Pirates. And they brought lunch to the crew back here. That's why we're not going very fast around here, because everybody's over there enjoying the Papa John's. Back with more after this.
This is a Pirate Radio Sports Break presented by Ron Ayers Motorsports, Highway 11 north of the airport in Greenville. Sophomore right-hander Wyatt Lunsford Sheikman had a spectacular outing for the Pirates, retiring all 15 batters he faced yesterday on the way to a 6-5 win to complete the series sweep of Cincinnati. Jacob Jenkins Cowart drove in the winning run in the 10th inning. The Pirates have a busy week this week, traveling to Norfolk tomorrow to take on Old Dominion and then back home to host Memphis for a weekend series. The ECU softball team fell to Tulsa 2-0 in its final home game of the season yesterday at Max R. Joyner Family Stadium. The Pirates are now 27-27 overall, 3-15 in the conference. ECU will face 3 seeds South Florida in the quarterfinals of the conference tournament that begins on Thursday at 5 o'clock. And the Canes dropped 1-2 the New Jersey Devils 8-4 yesterday in the East Divisional playoffs. Carolina still has a 2-1 lead in that series. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes.
You've had your new computer a few years now, but lately it's been running super slow, acting strange, and you're worried about viruses and losing data.
This is driving me mad!
Let the experts at University PC Care in Greenville and New Bern professionally diagnose your Mac or PC to see what's really going on. They'll determine the root cause and not just symptoms, so you don't waste money fixing the wrong issues. Call 252-558-1280 for in-store or remote service, or make an appointment online at universitypccare.com.
The icy treat that can't be beat is Sparky Snowballs. From big kids to little kids, Sparky Snowballs has been making smiles happen for over 20 years. If you're not in the mood to chill out with a snowball, Sparky's funnel cakes and fried Oreos are a perfect Sparky-licious treat every time. Are you having an event, party, or fundraiser? Call Sparky's to come on site. Remember to follow Sparky's on Facebook or visit SparkySnowballs.com to see where they'll be next.
The Buccaneer Music Hall is your beacon of music in the land of the Pirates. They're open every day and have live music every night, along with 18 big screen TVs to watch all your favorite sporting events. Tuesday, it's karaoke with DJ Captain Morgan. Wednesdays, it's line dancing. Thursday night is the dance party with DJ Kid Scene. And live music every Friday and Saturday night with the best bands on the East Coast. Follow the Buck on Instagram for more information on scheduled events, and we'll see you at the Buck.
Do you need custom t-shirts, apparel, or promotional items for your business, organization, or event? Keep it local. Print it local with University Sportswear. University Sportswear ENC.com is your one-stop shop for all promotional products for your business. With over 1 million items to shop from, University Sportswear ENC.com offers high-quality products at prices to fit any budget. Visit University Sportswear ENC.com for contact information and to get shopping. University Sportswear ENC.com, the official sportswear provider of Pirate Radio.
Pirate Radio sounds different.
Different is good. We are all the same. You'll be ashamed.
Because different is good.
Oh, yeah.
Pirate Radio.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. Austin Knight, pitching coach at East Carolina, is our guest. Pirates down to the last handful of games. East Carolina and Old Dominion, as we mentioned earlier in the show, has been moved to a 3 o'clock start coming up on Wednesday. As far as a starting pitcher goes, you still got to wait and see how your guys react from the weekend and before you guys decide who you'll start, and that will probably be a lot of players will pitch probably in that game.
Yeah, I would expect a lot of pitchers to pitch, and that's the thing about with Trey being out and kind of building back up is that a lot of guys are being asked to pitch, and pitch a lot, and so we'll see how guys recover in the next day or so, and I would expect a starter to be announced within the next 24 hours. But again, it's going to be a lot of faces out there, a lot of guys that go out there and are asked to get some outs on Wednesday.
That'll be good. Old Dominion, East Carolina, Wednesday at 3 o'clock now, and it'll be played at Old Dominion Stadium and not at Harbor Park, which is kind of a disappointment, I guess. I know you guys like to play in those minor league ballparks because you've had a chance to play in a couple this year. Yeah,
they're unique, and the crowds are pretty cool from that standpoint. But as far as this game, we just wanted to play. This is a good road game for us. Old Dominion is a tremendous team, and from RPI's standpoint, it's beneficial for us to go play. And so whatever we needed to do to get this game in was what we were going to do.
Let's go back to Game 3 against Cincinnati, and you guys are at the ballpark. You take infield, everybody's getting warmed up, and all of a sudden the power goes out. What was that like?
It was interesting. You heard the generators kick on, and the scoreboard was out, and the video board was out, and no music or anything like that. And so it kind of felt like a fall scrimmage game for a little bit. But it was unique and it was kind of cool, really. I mean, outside of the fact that we couldn't do the national anthem or anything like that, but it was kind of, hey, you're just playing a game now. You're playing baseball, and you're not having to listen to all the walkout songs and all that stuff in between innings and things like that. It's just, hey, kind of like backyard baseball. Let's roll the balls out and let's play, man. Let's get after it.
What was Austin Knight's walk-up song?
Oh, goodness. I had a couple back in the day. I
bet I have no idea what they are either because...
I don't know. You might.
All right.
I definitely had The Way You Move by Outkast at one point. No Diggity was one of mine.
No Diggity? I don't know anything about No Diggity.
Oh, come on. you need to get out of here.
Do we have No Diggity?
Get out of here and go listen to that. But I had a couple. I don't remember all of them. Probably a couple country songs. That
good. Point. Now, see, I might have a chance there.
Yeah, I don't remember them.
Yeah.
But I certainly probably thought they were cool in the moment. I mean, they probably weren't, but probably thought they were cool and thought I was really cool when I was walking up to the plate. So
when the players now, when they put their songs on a list, does Coach go through and look at them to make sure they're good? Or
that's more of a Blake Hardigree job to make sure there's nothing explicit or.
I can see Cliff calling Blake, come here.
Yeah.
Joe Smith over there's got this song.
Yeah, nothing explicit, nothing outlandish, certainly. There's definitely some background checks going on the songs and different things like that because, you can't put it past 18 to 22 year olds doing some stuff like that. So
it's funny because some of the songs through the years, I've never heard them before. I hear them, and then I'll start hearing them other places, and I think of it as being their walk-up song, not the guys that sing it.
Oh yeah. That's. I figure there's probably a lot of fans probably the same deal. They go to Mellow Mushroom and hear a song on the radio, and it's probably that's Jacob Jenkins and Cowards.
That's right.
Walkout song or whatever. I know I used to be the same way whenever I was younger and going to high school baseball games or college games or whatever it was. It's just like you were listening to the walkout songs. Oh, that's so and so's walkout song, and you just sticks in your mind a little bit.
It sure does. All right, let's go through what you guys do as a staff with you as the pitching coach and with Cliff. When you guys go into a game with your starting pitcher named, do you have an idea or go through and rank like, okay, who we're going to go with next? If case one, he's breezing, he goes 6 innings, who we're going to go with? Case two, he struggles early, and we got to get somebody in there. I mean, is it something like that you talk about, or is it kind of on the fly when you guys are in the middle of the game type thing?
Yeah, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. We definitely communicate about it prior to the game, but sometimes the game will dictate that from what the opposing team is doing, what their swings look like, what is effective against them. But you have ideas of who the guys that you would like to give the ball in the middle of the game, and then of course the guys at the back end of the game that you're going to give the ball kind of regardless of where you're at with that stuff. And so it's kind of a mix of both, and then also just using your eyes and using your feel for the game and saying, well, this guy should be a good matchup based off of what I'm seeing here, and kind of go from there. And then of course you look at matchups. You look at numbers, you look at the opposing team, how they hit against right-handed pitching, how they hit against left-handed pitching, and that all comes in the scouting, how they hit against sliders, how they hit against a good four-seam fastball or a sinker guy. And so
you got columns all over the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of information, and you have to. We have more technology and we have more access to that stuff than we've ever had, and so you don't have to guess as much. Now, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be right.
Doesn't always work.
Because it still is, they're hitting against other teams' staffs. They haven't faced our staff, and that's kind of what I always tell our guys, regardless. And so, because I think that we have one of the best pitching staffs in the country, and so what they've done against opposing staffs doesn't mean that that's what they're going to do against ours. But you try to get as much information as you possibly can. You watch as much video, and you try to make the most educated decisions on what's going to be the most effective and help us win a game.
Yeah, and at some point you do have situations. Does Cliff look down at you and say, okay, we got a lefty coming up and 2 batters, and what are we going to do here? And the wheels start turning.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, and you have to be proactive about it, just from the standpoint you got to give them time to go to the bullpen and get hot and get their arm ready and their mind ready and things like that. And so the way that we do it, we have guys who we kind of deem as clean inning guys who we want to go out there with nobody on and start the inning, and then guys who we feel like we can bring in the middle of a mess and we'll do a good job of cleaning it up. And so usually those clean inning guys, it's a little bit less expedited in the fact that they'll have more time to get ready. Those middle inning guys and the matchup guys, we'll have them down there moving their bodies at the beginning of the inning, and then kind of the inning will dictate that. Is if if the leadoff guy gets on, all right, now let's get him hot. Maybe I'll take a visit to give him some more time to get ready, and then you go from there. But yeah, we're always talking about those things. We're always communicating about it, and you got to think a couple innings ahead, a couple batters ahead, the best that you can. That way, that when those situations arise, that you're prepared for them.
We talk so much about last year and the job you did with that pitching staff, because I've never seen so many TBAs or TBDs, to be determined or to be announced, in a rotation. But that's basically what you guys had, just about week in and week out, and you were able to juggle everything, and you went on that 20-game winning streak. How has the year this year been different than that year for you personally?
I think the beginning of the year was definitely different because our starters were eating the majority of our innings.
Right.
And, you looked on a weekend and you could have 3 guys that pitch into the 7th inning, and there's just not a whole lot of innings to have to fill whenever that's happening. I think over the last week or so that it's been a little bit different in the fact that the starters haven't been pitching as deep into the games, which is fine. It's fine, which is no problem, because sometimes, facing the lineup 1 or 2 times and then get another guy in there can be very beneficial. And so I think in the last week or so, it's been somewhat similar to last year. Not exactly the same, of course. You're still, for the most part, pitching into the 4th or 5th inning with the starters. But to answer your question, the majority of this year has been different just because the starters have eaten so much more innings and been very effective.
When you're working with guys individually, I mean, you're a laid-back guy, but obviously you've got a point to get across and you've got to work on certain things. But to a man, and I've had him on, some of the players on, I think Clip's had some of the players on, but they're always talking about the job that AK does and what a great job, how he kind of just navigates everything and helps me so much.
Well, that's just because I tell them to say that, or I won't pitch them. I mean, it's obvious.
Or you won't throw.
Hey, you're going on the radio today. Make sure you say good things about.
You got to make
else.
sure, yeah. And that's a good strategy on your part, obviously. But that's got to mean a whole lot as far as just how they feel about you, because that's a relationship that it's kind of unique in sports. I mean, the pitching coach with the pitchers, the hitting coach with the hitters, kind of thing. But pitching, I think, is even more so because obviously, we always say baseball's a sport that'll humble you in a heartbeat, and it certainly will on the mound.
Yeah, no question, and it is great to hear that. I think with anything in coaching, there has to be so much trust that's built in a relationship, or you're not going to get where you need to go. And there's the old saying is that they need to know how much you care before they know how much you know. And so it all starts with the relationships, and that's the reason that I got into this. If I wasn't coaching baseball, I'd be doing something else that involved teaching or something of that something from that standpoint. But it starts with the guys that are recruited here and the players, but more importantly, the human beings. I mean, we have such great kids here who are very coachable and want to learn and have great personalities that they make it fun to be around. If you don't have those kids, or maybe you got some kids who are not great people or not very coachable, that makes every coach's job harder. But I think that it starts in the fall, and it really starts in recruiting with talking to these kids and building relationships and making them understand how much you care and how much you want their success, and go from there. And then from that standpoint, after that, it's all about individualizing for each pitcher, is because everyone's so different.
Yeah.
You can't put them into one category and just say this is how we're going to train you. It all has to do with what they do well, what they don't do well, and how can we make them as good as possible. And that plan is different for Trey Savage than it is for Carter Spivey, or for Josh Groves, or for Landon Ginn, or for Wyatt Lunch for Chinkman. And the only way that you're going to reach them with that stuff is by building those relationships, building the trust, and then holding the guys accountable to the work that they're expected to do every single day.
Do you ever have a guy come up and say, "Hey, coach, watch this," and he throws some pitch you've never seen before, and the ball moves like 3 feet? You're like, try to do that again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that within the development pieces, you got to be creative, and you got to let kids kind of be themselves and let them explore. And that's the thing. Carter Spivey came back from summer ball, and all of a sudden he had this cutter, right, which has been arguably the reason that he's been so successful over the last 2 years, outside of him just growing as a pitcher. But there's things like that all the time. It's Trey Savage being open to trying a bunch of different stuff, trying a split finger, trying a cutter, and all of a sudden getting feel for them and then becoming very good pitches, and but we're always, within reason, trying to make their pitches a little bit better. How can we make this a little bit better? How can we make this an outlier? How can we make this a pitch that somebody else doesn't have? And so you're always working on those things. And if you look up and you see something that looks really good or really nasty, it's like, all right, let's work on that. Let's try that. Because that might be something that we look up in 2 weeks, and that's a pitch that's helping you get outs.
Right.
And so you can't be closed-minded and think that as a pitching coach or any type of coach that you have all the answers. These kids are the ones that are throwing the baseballs, and they have the feel for what they're doing. And so if they feel like they have something that can turn into a really good pitch or something nasty, then it'd be crazy for me to not allow them to do that or work on it and different things like that.
Austin Knight, pitching coach at East Carolina, our guest. We'll take another commercial break. Back with more with Coach Knight, talking Pirate baseball right after this.
It's bow time. Sometimes the craving for Bojangles Supremes is so strong you just gotta have them. Even when your gas tank is on empty and Bojangles is still 10 miles down the highway. Nothing beats the flavor of Bojangles juicy golden Supremes, especially when they're part of a perfect combo with 4 boldly seasoned chicken Supremes, a made-from-scratch biscuit, fixin', and some legendary iced tea. The only thing that can satisfy your hunger is that delicious southern flavor. So when the craving is supreme, put the pedal to the metal. It's bow time.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft & Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
the best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best. Everybody loves burgers.
It's time to save big and save now during Bostic Sugg Furniture's Memorial Day markdowns. Beautiful furniture for your home with Memorial Day markdowns you have to see to believe. Plus 6 months special financing. Save up to 70% off clearance items. Plus take an additional 25% off accessories. This is a must-shop event with incredible savings store-wide. Start sleeping better and save on a new mattress with up to 48 months special financing now at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
To keep your bodies active and engaged in the activities that you love, you need a good stretch. And at Bodies in Balance, that's the mission they follow to give you the best quality of life. The team at Bodies in Balance can create a stretch or massage program that is right for you, featuring aromatherapy, hot stones, hot towels, cupping, percussion, and myofascial work at no extra cost if requested. And don't forget to mention Pirate Radio and get your first massage for $1 per minute and your first stretch free. Call today at 916-4530 and check them out online at bodiesinbalance.com. Coco's Sports Bar and Restaurant, located in the Old Professor O'Cool's location, has daily lunch specials from 11 to 5, including their famous $1 wing special Monday through Wednesday all day long. Coco's has entertainment every Tuesday with country western night and karaoke on Thursday starting at 8. Take advantage of their weekly fresh fruit margarita specials and be sure to try the best Philly ribeye steak rolls in town while you're at it. Coco's Sports Bar and Restaurant, Greenville's Diamond in the Rough. Check them out on Facebook for more information. Go Pirates!
Pirate Radio! Pirate Radio! Pirate Radio! Radio.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. Austin Knight, pitching coach at East Carolina, is our guest. Got about 16, 17 minutes to go in our show. Next week, Joe West, who's umpired more Major League Baseball games than anybody in history. Next stop will be the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, but Joe West will join us right here on our show, and we're looking forward to that because he's got some great Major League Baseball stories, and he is just a king storyteller, and he tells some great ones. So we'll have him on next week, and then the week after that, we'll be down in Clearwater. We'll try to catch up with Coach Godwin and some of the guys in Clearwater. Hard to believe that we're already headed to Clearwater in a couple of weeks.
It goes by so fast. You know, it always, you know, when the beginning of the season starts, you look at the longevity of a 56-game schedule, and you're like, all right, it's gonna, you know, obviously be a long season or whatever it might be. But then you look up and you're at the very end, you know, and we got eight games left, and it's like that every year. You blink your eye, and you're playing for you know, championships and playing for postseason and things like that. And I mean, we've got 8 games left, which is wild.
It is wild. 6 games in the conference, the non-conference games against Old Dominion and against Campbell. And right now, one of the keys is, and I know you guys don't look at it like go out to practice, say, we got to keep our RPIs got to come down, we got to do this and that. But it's one of those things that when you finish a series or something, then you go back and look, and you're right in the mix as far as hosting again. You've got a really good chance at that. But you just got to keep playing good baseball. And that's what Cliff stresses, but you just got to play good baseball.
You play good baseball, it'll take care of itself.
Right.
It really will. And I know it's the coaching cliche,
right,
and every coach will say the exact same thing. But if you get worried about are we going to host a regional, is our RPI going to be in the right place, then now you've got, you know, external factors and thoughts going through your mind, and you're not just focused on the present moment, which is to go out there and win pitches and win a game, right? And so it is just so true in the fact that if we play good down the stretch, if we take care of business, if we play well, then those things will take care of themselves. They will. You know, if we stay healthy, if we stay focused on the task at hand, and we worry about us, then those things will take care of themselves. But it's not going to take care of themselves by worrying about it.
Right. All right, Houston is 12-5 in the conference. Wichita State is in third place behind East Carolina. Pirates 12-6, Wichita State 10-7. The third game of the Houston-Wichita State game was washed out and will not be made up. So Houston has a half-game lead over East Carolina. Now, in my mind, I think that's a good thing for East Carolina because if you end up tied with Houston, Houston has the tiebreaker. As we stand here, unless something happens in the 6 games that East Carolina has left, but if East Carolina plays all 6 of those games, then you're either going to beat them by a half game, a game and a half, or be behind by a half game or a game and a half. So it's not going to be a tie.
Yeah, that's correct. It kind of eliminates that tiebreaker. And so, certainly, I'm sure that Houston wishes that they could have played that game.
Oh, I'm sure.
Any way that any way possible. But it doesn't really change anything from our standpoint. We're still looking to go and play well and take care of business on our end. And if we do that, then at the end of the season, then we'll look up and be in a good place.
We talk about East Carolina in the American and just the dominance that East Carolina has had through the years. And it's really uncanny when you think about just how well this team has played in the conference. And because this is not a good RPI year for the American, but most years are.
Yeah, most years are, and even though it's not a good RPI year for the American, the teams at the top of the league are good teams.
Right.
Houston just played bad at the beginning of the season, but they are very good. Same with Wichita State. We went there and they played outstanding against us.
I think Wichita State probably played about as good as they possibly could, and you guys had all the bad things happen to you to get there, and then didn't play very well, and it was just a bad combo.
You can kind of call it what it is. They played outstanding.
They did,
and we did not play well. And but that's not taking anything from them because I think they have a very talented team, and I think that they're well coached and disciplined, and I think they're good. And so you talk about the RPI, those things can be a little misleading in the fact that you can lose a lot of RPI at the beginning of a season whenever you're not off to a good start.
Right.
But those teams are very good, and obviously gave us a handful early in the conference season.
Yeah, when you look at what you guys have left in front of you, how hard is it to tell guys? And it's another cliche: one game at a time, one pitch at a time. But when you guys preach that the whole year, it's a little easier to do it this time of year because they've heard it all year. And that's what they got to be thinking.
It's harped on so much, and I think that. Like anything, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you understand what you need to do. But the only way that we're going to do it is by what you just said, is by focusing on the one game at a time mantra. But again, it's been talked about so much, even from the fall. It's when we're having practice, it's about the present. It's about that day. It's not about what's going to happen at the end of the fall, what's going to happen in exit meetings, what your role is going to be. It's about what can we get the most out of this practice today. And whenever you have that mindset, and you kind of take it day by day, it makes it a little bit easier when you get to the end of the season and you kind of see where you're at and what the standings are and what you need to do. Well, we just got to focus on today. And, like that means Monday. That means dominating our off day, getting some good recovery in, and then tomorrow having a good practice, and then of course doing everything that we possibly can to win the game on Wednesday.
I asked Coach Palumbo this last week, and I think he had some great ideas. The review process. Everybody wants to get the calls right.
Right.
But my frustration with it is that we have to have this meeting at the mound to talk about everything, and then right now you get 2, the other team gets 2, and the umpires, they can review anytime, right? If they see something they think. So I mean, it's kind of like, why don't we just go back to where you get 2, and if you get it right, you get to keep your 2. If you don't get it right, you lose 1. So you got 2 shots. So that's only 4 reviews, but it seems like every bang play at first, every it's got to be. And what do they talk about when they get out there? I mean, I always joke that they're talking about what they're going to have for dinner that night or something because they get out there and it's like, okay, Joe, what'd you see? It was close. I don't know. I mean, we know it was close. That's why we're reviewing.
Yeah. The process takes too long. I think in the SEC they've got a good hold on it where they have people off site or wherever that are reviewing the play, and they have the umpires basically like a football game where they have an earpiece in and they announce the play afterwards and what they're reviewing and things like that. But when they come together, I assume that they are just reviewing, that they are challenging the foot being on the base or whatever it might be, just to make sure that they're clarifying exactly what they're going to look for. And then they go and look for it, and sometimes the reviews take a little bit longer, sometimes they take a bit shorter, sometimes the view is not great, sometimes it's not.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, the cameras, it's not a Super Bowl production at most places. And East Carolina does a great job with the cameras that they have and the angles that they have. But you watch some of these other ones, and it's hit and miss.
It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent, certainly. And so I think that there's needs to be some, consistent parameters around those things in order to get the call right. Because there's still times where the call on the field stands whenever it's, whether the guy may be actually out or safe or whatever it is. And so sometimes it's still being confirmed wrong, that the play is wrong. And so it's to a point where the process just needs to be expedited a little bit. And again, the most important thing is that we get the call right. If we're reviewing it, then let's get it right.
Yeah. And is it a situation where we need to go, all of college baseball needs to do the same, or is that kind of impossible because some leagues have TV, some leagues don't? Old Dominion doesn't have the game is not going to be televised. Wasn't scheduled for Tuesday. I don't know if they'll have Wednesday's game televised or not, but it doesn't sound like it.
I think it's impossible. I think it's impossible to put true parameters around it, just because the SEC teams and the teams with the high budgets are going to be able to afford to do more than what what the other schools that can do. And so I don't think it's something that's going to be fixable over any short time. And so we'll kind of see how that plays out.
And it kind of depends. Some things are reviewable and some things aren't. Mm-hmm. And it seems like some of the things that aren't reviewable should be.
Yeah, I don't know how they make the rules with all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know why they decide to deem certain things reviewable and certain things not reviewable. I couldn't tell you the science and the high level meetings that go on behind closed doors about that stuff. But it's definitely interesting.
Was it the Carolina game where it looked like Josh Moylan's whole leg was on the bag and he got called for it being off the bag? Did you see that replay?
I didn't watch it back. Yeah. I didn't watch it back, but if his whole leg was on the base, then that would mean he would be out.
That's what I thought. But it didn't work out that way. But I swear, I think he was laying on top of it. And I was trying to see, is there an angle out there where it wasn't close? But that to me is one of the frustrating parts too, because the angles are different, the cameras are different, and for it takes so long, because all we're doing right now in baseball is trying to speed up play.
That's right.
We got a pitch clock, but we're going to take forever to review a play.
Yeah, it seems counterproductive.
Right, it seems very counterproductive. That's for sure. All right, we're going to take our final commercial break. Austin Knight live in the studio with us. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up with AK, get him out of here, get him set for Old Dominion, and then the weekend series in the American after this.
The Doritos Cool Ranch Papadilla. It's the best idea ever.
Oh, come on. The Doritos Cool Ranch Papadilla was my idea. I did that. Don't play yourself.
The Doritos Cool Ranch Papadilla.
Genius.
Hey, Pirate fans, Papa John's is the MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza. Go Pirates! Before you hit the road this travel season, be sure to get your tires inspected by the tire guys at Greenville Auto World. The Greenville Auto World service team sells all the top brands and economy tires if you need a new set. Need an oil change, state inspection, or AC repair? Greenville Auto World can work on any type of vehicle, and the monthly oil change special is only $29.99. Make an appointment now by calling 364-8730. For award-winning service, trust Greenville Auto World.
The Rick House is Eastern North Carolina's premier restaurant and bourbon authority. Jefferson's, Basil Hayden, Woodford Reserve, and a Midwinter Night's Dram are just a few of the incredible bourbon options. The Rick House features the very best steaks and fresh, made-from-scratch pastas. The Rick House can host your corporate event or special parties in the 3,000-square-foot banquet hall. Join the Rick House for Sunday brunch from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and for the wine tastings on the last Friday of every month. The Rick House.
Pepsi Zero Sugar has a new, better flavor. A Zero Sugar Cola has never tasted this good. But we don't expect you to take our word for it, so we're putting it to the test. Starting with me. Cue the fireworks. We have an official best Zero Sugar ever. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and it's so good you'll need to try it for yourself. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like.
Happy 100th anniversary to Minji's Bottling Group. Congratulations on 100 years of refreshing Eastern North Carolina.
Familia is your go-to spot for the best Italian dishes around, including pizzas, pastas, salads, and homemade desserts.
That's Familia.
Enjoy half-off wine night on Wednesdays, $3 drafts on Thursdays, or get a pizza of the week for just $12.
That's familiar.
Place your order online or call 689-6330, and Familia will have your order ready in their drive-thru window for pickup.
That's familiar.
Clip, really?
Oh, sorry.
Familia on Fire Tower Road in Winterville near Pitt Community College.
Be sure to check out David Price Construction for all of your commercial or custom residential renovation and building needs. Run by ECU alumni, David Price Construction specializes in commercial projects, maintenance on facilities, and large-scale residential renovations and additions. Proud to be voted the Remodeler of the Year by the Home Builders Association of Raleigh-Wake County in 2018 and Best Business Commercial Remodel Project winner for 2020. David Price Construction, the proud ECU Home Services partner.
Pirate Radio.
We are not coming together to just be average. We want to build a program that will year in and year out compete for the American Athletic Conference Championship and compete nationally against any and everybody.
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. I want to thank the fine folks at Papa John's, one of our great sponsors, for dropping off lunch, and they're featuring the Doritos Cool Ranch Papadillas. The first time ever, we're unleashing the bold, zesty flavor of Doritos Cool Ranch on Papa John's melty, cheesy flatbread style sandwich. The Papadilla served with a signature Cool Ranch dipping sauce. We had some of those in the back, so also have to get you one of those before you leave out of here. I want to thank Papa John's.
That sounds outstanding.
Yeah,
sounds like something I do not need.
I don't need it either. That's for sure. East Carolina and Old Dominion coming up now on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. In case you haven't heard the news, they're moving that game to Wednesday at 3, and that's because the Monarchs had some travel issues, and the Pirates know all about some of those travel issues. Memphis comes to town for the weekend, 6 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday, and then Campbell comes to town next week. All of a sudden, the season just kind of wraps up quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. It's the blink of an eye, and you look up, and that's with what we just talked about. That's why it's so important to just stay one game at a time, focused on what we're doing.
Great chance to see the Pirates this weekend. Hopefully, the weather will be really, really good. Memphis again, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 1 o'clock for those 3 games. Then the Campbell game. Then the Pirates head south. They'll be in Florida for a week because you got USF, that 3-game series. So you just stick around there in the Tampa area, head over to Clearwater Beach. And as we were talking during the commercial break, Clearwater, if you get a chance to go, and mostly it's parents that get a chance to go, and it's probably an expensive trip, but it's a lot of baseball and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's outstanding. I think it's really one of the best places that you can have the tournament, and of course the American does a good job and puts us up in awesome hotels, and you're right on the beach, and you get to play at that beautiful stadium of the Phillies organization, and the kids love it. It's really great for everyone. Whenever it's a really neat town, and so whenever you're not playing, there's always something to do and something to hang out and things like that. And so it's certainly a great place to have a conference tournament, and Clearwater's beautiful.
The best part about it, if you win on Tuesday, you get Wednesday off. If you win on Thursday, you get Friday off.
Play for the off day, boys. Play for the off day.
Coach was saying in the huddle, you get them together and you say, boys, we got a lot to play for, but the main thing we got to play for is a day off tomorrow in Clearwater Beach. And Coach will let you go on the beach for like an hour or so.
1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour.
No more. No more than that.
He's got some of those wristbands you guys wear, and he times it.
I love it because he'll go down there and walk around and be like, hey, how long have you been out here? It's time to get back into the hotel, right? Go get a Gatorade. Let's go.
I saw the Agnos boys on the beach last year. Of course, Jake was just visiting, and Zach was still playing, but they would have their bathing suits on and their shirts off, and so we got a picture taken, and I was like, man, who's the odd man out in this deal? We got 2 Greek gods, and you got the marshmallow boy right in the middle. But it was a lot of fun, and those guys they mean a lot to the program, and it's just the legacy that you guys have with guys. And I was going to say this about Cliff. Cliff's kind of gruff at times, but to a man, you talk to somebody that's gone through this program, and they're at their new job and they've got families and stuff, but man, they think so much about what Cliff did for them to make them a man. And I know sometimes during the process it's hard, but when they get out, man, they're very thankful.
Absolutely, he's the best in the country, and it's coming from somebody who played for for him.
That's true.
And so I actually have that perspective and understanding of what you're talking about. And there's no way I'm here if not for, Coach Godwin and everything that he did for me in my playing career at Ole Miss. And, that's coming from a coach's son as well. And so, having those influences is huge. But he's the best. He cares so much about our guys and of course, developing them on the field, but more so as a human being and a leader in society, and just teaching them how to be a great man.
Austin, certainly enjoyed the hour, man. It flies by with you. I certainly appreciate you coming on. Pirates at 34-14, 11-6 in the American, half game out of first place. Best of luck the rest of the way here.
Thanks, Brian. Go Pirates.
That's Austin Knight joining us, and that is our show. We'll see you back here next week. Joe West, who's umpired more games than anybody in the history of baseball, he joins us next week right here on The Brian Bailey Show. We'll see you next Monday.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, and also brought to you by
Angus Grill, Bostic Sugg Furniture, Bojangles, East Coast Grading, Papa John's, Pepsi, The Rick House, Greenville Utilities, Taft and Hagler, Tiebreakers, and Greenville Auto World.
Join us next week for another edition of The Brian Bailey Show, right here on Pirate Radio. This is